Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to our placement talk session. I am Yash Mashiri. I am delighted to be your host for this insight conversation. As a fellow student and a member of CHESS, I am here to facilitate a discussion with our distinguished guest today. We have the privilege of having a super senior among us who has recently started working as a management trainee at BPCL, and we are eager to hear about his journey and experience. So, without further ado, let's dive into the conversation and give some valuable insights. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jishnu Das. Congratulations, Bhaiya, on your achievement, incredible achievement, Bhaiya.
Thank you for welcoming me as well. So, yeah, let's start the discussion.
Okay. So, Bhaiya, let's dive into the questions part, question answer part.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So, Bhaiya, first question is, can you please tell our viewers something about BPCL?
BPCL के बारे में like what I can say about BPCL is कि the basic thing कि PSU है ये तो सबको पता ही है महारत्ना है and also these days it is doing quite well. I mean it has been incurring good profits also. But in this session I thought of like I knew that you will be asking me this question about BPCL. So I thought of focusing on those parts which are actually relevant to students. Like profits don't matter to students, like the work-life balance, how it will be, the perks, the compensation that a student can get from BPCL, that will be, I think, more important or interesting for the students. So let's say,
Yeah.
there is both positives as well as negatives in working BPCL.
Yes.
So starting with the positives, like since it's a government company, so the medical that we get,
Hmm.
so that is completely free. I mean, we have a complete medical coverage. Like as long as we work and how much, like whatever be the medical expenses, we get that. Now that actually forms a big part. I mean, of the entire expenses, that forms a big part. And also you can declare your parents also, like our dependent parents, and they also get their claims. So basically entire family gets covered up in that. Also there are fuel allowances and such, like which is not a very big amount, but it's a
Hmm.
decent amount for your travels and all. So and there are
Okay.
few basic allowances, bonuses and all. So those things are there. Now, secondly, another positive point of BPCL is that, like, we hear these days that there are many layoffs going on all around the country, right? But since it's a government company, everyone knows that there is no layoff. But this also
Hmm.
comes at a cost, that the salary increment, though it's a steady increment, but it's not a very fast or rapid increment. Like you will get a pay increase, like 3% increase in your basic every year, and the DA increases every quarter. So that is apart from the basic, but the basic will increase at a 3% rate per year. So these are some of the perks of the BPCL. And like negative thing, or might not be a negative thing for some people. For me, it's a bit negative actually. Like BPCL gives a lot of transfers. I mean, like people who work in any government firm, actually they have to undergo through a lot of transfers. Like if you work in refinery, still they consider you for like not transferring you. But if you work in other units, business units like LPG or like petrol, like in sector which we call retail sector, in that you will
Hmm.
be transferred for sure in 3 to 4 years. And mostly mechanical engineers and electrical engineers join that team. Chemical engineers also do sometimes join that, but mostly chemical engineers go to refinery. So you can expect uh, like a fixed position for the next 6 to 8 years. But like in a life, in once or the other, you will like have to undergo through this transfer thing. So now this is a positive thing as well as a negative thing, because you get to travel for free. But again, you cannot settle at one particular place, so that becomes difficult in the long run. So this is one difficulty that you can see about. Again, as I said, that the salary growth is not very high, so that is also a
Hmm.
problem. Another general thing about BPCL, that BPCL is actually running a bit short of manpower. So if anybody is coming to BPCL, that person gets a lot of learning opportunity, because we sometimes misjudge that a government that being in a government company we don't work much, or we don't have to work much. But that is actually not the case in BPCL, because people do 16-hour shift or 12-hour shift just because of
Ah.
the shortage of manpower, and they expect you to take your like job responsibility as soon as possible, like in 1 2 months. That's a huge learning opportunity if you work in BPCL. So that's, I think, that will be relevant to you people about BPCL right
Yeah,
now.
sure, Bhaiya.
But yeah, how did you first hear about the opportunity. Can you walk us through the recruitment process of BPCL?
Yeah, like the obviously the news came out through the groups only, like every other thing. So as far as I remember, our form was filled up in the month of February to April. I don't know the exact date. I have forgotten the exact date. So we filled up the form in that part, and then after 3 to 4 months, I mean after our end semesters, the final semesters were over, we were in home. We received that we need to upload our part A and part B. So those who have given the like internship or something like that, part A is basically a BPCL a CV in the form of BPCL. Okay, and part B contains 10 I guess HR questions which we need to fill up and submit it. According to which they make some basic judgment and they will provide you a basic shortlist. For us only, there were two rounds of interview. One is the L1 interview. It was an online interview, and secondly, it was a like live in-person interview which took place in Mumbai. So that's how the selection was done. Another important thing is that after L2 interviews, they will tell you that you are provisionally selected, because in government form there is another rule that you have to undergo the medical test, and until unless you pass the medical test, you are not through the process. So like when you are
Okay.
applying, I think like many juniors that texted me regarding this to clear out this thing. Like the colleges also set some rules that they need to test themselves before actually sitting for BPCL. So that's a good thing, because ultimately, end of the day, if you like crack the whole process and after the placement season is over, and then you realize that you're not fit for the role, then it will be a tremendous thing for a student. Like he or she will be literally jobless. So do that. So after that, you get through the process. I think for you people, like for the next years, there will be
Hmm.
GD and all. For us, there were no GD. Like there were two technical rounds. Two rounds. One technical round, one HR round. The
Okay,
technical round,
technical.
yeah, the round that was online or the level one round was a technical round, and the round two was an HR round, which was in person mode. So that's how the interview was.
So, Bhaiya, as you said about the technical and HR rounds, so what should we need to study and from where for this rounds?
एक्चुअली ये जो है ना, मतलब टेक्निकल्स के लिए क्या पढूं, एचआर के लिए क्या पढूं,
Hmm.
these are same for all the companies. Okay, I mean, like they ask you mostly about the equipments that they work upon. I mean, nobody remembers a basic theoretical thing. Okay, so they're not going to ask that. They work with the heat exchangers, they will ask you about heat exchangers. They work with distillation column, they will ask about distillation column. Okay. Now also there's in distillation column those practical aspects like weeping, those type of things, like the practical problems, what happens, those type of things. Okay. So I think he left the meeting. I think there's some internet issue.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I thought I was in. Okay. So basically, so technical का वैसा है, डिस्टिलेशन
Hmm.
कॉलम है, जो भी मतलब हर एक सिलेबस से जो भी इक्विपमेंट रिलेटेड है, पंप्स, कंप्रेसर्स, हीट
हाँ.
एक्सचेंजर्स, डिस्टिलेशन कॉलम, एब्सॉर्प्शन प्रोसेसेस, ये सब अच्छे से करना होगा. Like you need to study on this because they ask mostly on these things only. Okay.
Okay.
And very rarely, I mean, they can ask you to do some like other drawings and all. But for me, they didn't even ask a single technical question, to be honest.
Achha.
But in our panel, like many people were asked technical questions. So it varies from person to person. Like they may ask question, they may not ask question. But from if you're preparing, you have to prepare well, obviously. So you have to
Hmm.
focus on those parts like heat exchangers, columns, and all those things. So yeah, and for HR, like HR people make this mistake sometimes also. Like sometimes they can make a mistake that yeah, मतलब HR तो हो जाएगा, मतलब basic तो questions है. But I'll prefer that don't wait for the last moment, because the questions are very simple. Like you have all, like you must have been through that particular phase. Like the question that they will ask is about your own life only, and you must have been through that. But what the problem that occurs is that the problem that occurs is that uh, like you cannot remember or at that particular time, because that's an interview round. Na? That is a very, like you are in a very tough, difficult situation.
Yeah,
So
Bhaiya. At the
preparing
time,
an
my
HR
brain
question.
is not work properly.
Yeah, exactly. The simplest of questions also you cannot answer. So prepare questions like tell us about a time when you showed your team skills, communication skills, solve the conflict, those type of things. So prepare well in advance and कीप देम रेडी, लाइक प्रॉपर स्टोरी लाइन एक होना चाहिए। एंड अगर वो स्टोरी लाइन तुम खुद से बना भी रहे हो, इंश्योर कि लाइक दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दैट, बिकॉज वंस दे अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू आर लाइंग और मेकिंग अप स्टोरीज ना, दे विल इंस्टेंटली रिजेक्ट। सो
We
द
should be
एंटायर,
confident enough. That's it.
exactly, and the storyline should be proper. I mean, the entire thing should be synchronized. Like your point shouldn't also interconnect.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Bhaiya. Like, Bhaiya, we have to do some projects to get
Yeah.
place easily. Like, what
Actually,
kind of project we have to do? We
yeah.
should do.
See, it's like it's not basically nobody will ask you that do this project or do that project. Like it's basically you have to work on that. Okay. So now, like there are two kind of projects that we can broadly classify into, right? Like one is something like research-based project, or some are like
Mm.
application-based project. Okay. Now, from the BTech point of view, if you are applying for a job right after BTech, okay, so if you are doing any research-based like projects, no, that actually doesn't count much, because like that is not relevant to your job profile. So try to do projects which are actually practical oriented. I mean, if you are doing a project on Aspen and if you want a
Mm.
job in process industry, that is highly relevant. Okay, like people everywhere in any company, BPCL also, in Reliance also, everywhere they use Aspen, so they require it on a daily basis. So that's relevant specifically to the industry. So try to do those kind of projects, any project, but it should be like it should have an application, like direct application, and not just a theoretical project. And obviously, if you target for like pursuing education after BTech and not joining job, something like that, so then you can like go for your technical thing. But again, once again, it's like there are a lot of people. I mean, most of the people do research projects and they have cracked normal like jobs also. Like our Reliance, many friends from Reliance also uh, didn't have such application-based project, but that is okay. But obviously, if you have application-based project, then that's basically adds a star to your CV. That's it.
Okay.
Like, Bhaiya, CG requirement should be high for that placement, like in BPCL, Reliance.
एक्चुअली क्या है कि सीजी का जो है ना, सीजी इन कोर बेसिकली, आई वाज टेलिंग दिस थिंग टू वन ऑफ द कॉल्ड मी, एक्चुअली व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट सीजी is the first thing that they know about you, right? I mean, they judge you on your technical expertise. They judge you from that. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, see, like what happens is that in interview, everybody goes well prepared. Okay, this day nobody goes like ऐसे ही चला गया, तो वैसा नहीं होता है, right? So basically, everybody is giving their best. Now, if a person goes, both a person they're giving their best, and one person has a higher CGP, so obviously that person will get qualified, right? And क्या होता है कि कुछ कुछ कंपनीज, मतलब हर एक कंपनी आई गेस एक लोअर लिमिट तो रखता ही है, तो 7.5 से ऊपर तो रखना ही है। ओके,
Mm.
एंड ट्राई टू बी लाइक एज हाई एज पॉसिबल, जितना हाई हो सकता है अपना CGPA उतना रखने का कोशिश करो, दैट आई विल से। बट आगे कॉलेज में एक बार जॉब लग गया तो कोई पूछने नहीं वाला है कि कितना CGPA मिला था, कोई पूछने नहीं वाला है, मतलब इट डजेंट मैटर एक्चुअली, मतलब जॉब तक ही वो मैटर करता है। रिलायंस में ऐसा हुआ था कि लाइक जो जो ऑर्डरिंग था, मतलब द फर्स्ट पर्सन हु विल गो, सेकंड पर्सन हु विल गो, दैट वाज बेस्ड ऑन द CGPA itself. So basically the first 7 or 8 people who were selected for the interview were directly sent to the STF round. Okay, so STF is basically a higher like role for the Reliance. Okay, so they were sent directly for that interview, and the rest 7 were sent to the manufacturing based interview. So that is how they do the division. Other than this, CGP in life, I doubt how much it will matter because nobody asks after a job. So जितना हो सके उतना ज़्यादा रखने का कोशिश करो, इतना चाप नहीं है, चिल है, that's it.
Okay, so Bhaiya, you were offered three full-time opportunities at RIL, LNT, and
Yeah,
BPCL. So why did you choose BPCL over the others, these two?
या इट्स लाइक LNT का तो देखो एक्चुअली क्या हुआ था कि जो थ्री जो प्लेसमेंट मुझे लगा था, दैट वाज
हाँ.
लाइक फर्स्ट रिलायंस का रिजल्ट आया था, उसके बाद LNT का आया था, एंड देयर वाज
Hmm.
अ लॉन्ग गैप बिटवीन दीज टू एंड BPCL, बिकॉज BPCL का रिजल्ट लाइक आई गेस इट केम इन अराउंड जून. Okay, so there was a lot of difference. Obviously, BPCL because of the higher salary.
हाँ.
Because yeah,
First point.
so obviously yeah. So that is the main reason basically. I mean, in Reliance, the it's a private sector, and Reliance gives you a lot of like a whole lot of work learning opportunity. Like they have the one of the best plants in the world. Okay, but
Hmm.
again, like when you are getting a low salary, you will choose higher salary over. And so
Yes,
that's why I
yes.
chose basically BPCL over Reliance. And LNT का तो वैसे ही मतलब क्योंकि वो तो कॉलेज में ही था ना, so I had to
Hmm.
reject that offer because I was in the college and that's how I rejected LNT. Yeah.
Um, so Bhaiya, like, what are the qualities BPCL BPCL looks for any candidates for hiring?
What I believe is okay. It's like they just don't prefer technical knowledge. I mean, like no company does
Hmm.
prefer only like a technical guy. Okay, you need to have like a general management skill. Okay, when you come to refinery, even if you come to refinery, more than technical, it is how you manage the operators who will work under you, get things done. Okay, that is the fundamental skill that will require in any job these days. Like it's no more only technical. So that is a fundamental like quality that everybody will search for. And specifically for BPCL, I don't think that there are such specific thing that BPCL looks for. A general good candidate maybe. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, acha, one point to add, like
Hmm.
as I said about this, like people, like there is this transfer policy, right? So a lot of people leave BPCL in the long run for that. So also they prefer people who will stick to BPCL. I mean, who like says that they are okay with transfers and all. So they will give a bit more like priority to that candidate because that candidate has a higher chance of sticking to BPCL. Like they will invest, BPCL invests a lot on like lot on the new joiners, right? They will give you a air ticket and all. They will give a lot of food and all. So they will expect that you will stay back. So yeah.
Okay. So Bhaiya, as it is a PSU company, so what is the difference between normal co and PSU companies?
नॉर्मल एंड पीएसयू में अगर मैं बीपीसीएल का बात करूँ, ठीक है,
Yes, okay.
सो वंस यू स्टेप इनसाइड बीपीसीएल, ओके, यू वोंट अंडरस्टैंड दैट फ्रॉम द वर्किंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एज आई सेड कि बहुत लोग जज
Hmm.
करते हैं कि यार मतलब तो गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है तो ज़्यादा काम तो नहीं करना पड़ेगा,
Ah.
but it is not like that. Okay, like in whereas in Reliance they give you one complete year to learn your entire plant or the refinery part that you're working in, and after 1 year they give you charge, right? But in BPCL they're expecting it in 2 to 3 months. So that's how the work pressure is over here. And for other business units like retails and all, so they have already taken up the responsibility. Those who have joined me or after me. So the work once you step in BPCL, it's no more कि हाँ मतलब government में आ गया. It's like it's the work को at par with the private firms. Like you have to work for extended hours and all. Specifically in BPCL वही है कि मतलब तुमको कभी कोई निकालेगा नहीं कंपनी से because it's government, so you don't have the fear of
Hmm.
getting laid off. So that is a big part. The medicals are free. I mean, you get 100% coverage on your medical. So that is also a big part. And that's it. I mean, that is the difference between government and private.
Yes.
You are safe to work in.
Bhaiya, any new advices for our juniors?
एडवाइसेस है कि अगर इंटरव्यू के लिए प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो, अच्छा वन थिंग, अच्छा मैं आउट ऑफ द कंटेक्स्ट एक चीज़ बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है,
हाँ
तो
हाँ
तुम
भैया.
लोगों ने वाज दिस द लास्ट क्वेश्चन?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yes
अच्छा,
भैया.
okay, so actually I wanted to talk about one thing, like how do you uh, like उसमें मैंने वो मिस कर गया एक पॉइंट कि जो लोग गलती करते हैं ना कि जब सबसे पहला जो क्वेश्चन आता है वो ये बोलता है कि मतलब वो ये पूछता है कि टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ, राइट? सो स्टूडेंट्स डोंट प्रिपेयर दैट, आई वांटेड टू से अबाउट दैट आल्सो.
Hmm.
सो वहाँ वो कैसे बोलूँ कि तुम लोग ऐड कर सकते हो, मुझे बोलो तो फिर आई विल से अकॉर्डिंगली आई विल कैच दैट पार्ट.
भैया कर दीजिए, आप जैसे कंफर्टेबल है वैसे बोल दीजिए, नो प्रॉब्लम.
Okay, I'll just say. So I'll say like this way. The one thing that I want to mention is that जब भी इंटरव्यू के लिए प्रिपरेशन करते हो तो एक क्वेश्चन जो होता है वो हर जगह पे तुमको पूछेगा, एंड दैट क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली डिसाइड्स द एंटायर flow of the interview. Okay, so that question is like when you join an interview they will ask you tell me something about yourself, right? So in that question sometimes people don't go in a very well prepared way. I like you need to prepare that question very well because and I want to say you that you must mention this points, like you need to mention about all those points that you want to talk about in the entire interview. Okay, because the keywords that you will use in that particular introduction, they will catch those particular keywords and they will ask you on that one. So basically, say if you have good hold on your projects, okay. So you will tell that I have done a project on this. While saying also about your project, we like ensure that you only mention it in one sentence, just what is being done. It shouldn't be long enough. Okay, so
Hmm.
just that, which would include important keywords, and that's it. And you say that uh, key about this project. So they will hear the keywords and they will ask you regarding that. Because Haldia Petrochemicals में ना interview मैंने ऐसा ही किया था कि I missed out this thing. Okay, like they started asking me, like they started introducing themselves to me, and then they suddenly said that okay, so let's jump into the technical. Okay, so basically they were asking me random questions, and like I was like कि यार ये क्या पूछ रहे हैं मेरे से. So if you let the interviewer ask questions, he can ask you
Hmm.
anything under the sun, which is difficult. लाइक तुम कितना भी प्रिपेयर कर लोगे, जो भी बेस्ट बंदा भी होगा ना, वो भी शायद नहीं बोल पाएगा, मतलब नहीं भी बोल सकता है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं बोल पाएगा, नहीं भी बोल सकता है. सो इट्स बेटर that you prepare your interview, like prepare your answer for telling something about yourself, include all the keywords that you want to talk about in the interview. Okay, अगर कहीं पे बीच में भटक भी जाता है, लाइक वो कहीं और खींच लेके जाता है, तो उसका आंसर घुमा फिरा के वापस वहीं पे ही लाना, जाओ जहाँ पे जिस पे तुम बात करना चाहते हो. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल इन इंटरव्यू. ओके,
Hmm.
अदरवाइज इट्स लाइक वही है, मतलब ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल ये है कि अगर तुमको उसको जाने दोगे ना, वो कहीं भी उसको लेके जा सकता है, तुम उसको नहीं
हाँ,
क्रैक कर
फिर वो कहीं से भी पूछ लेगा.
कहीं भी नहीं, कुछ भी पूछना है, क्योंकि उसको
हाँ.
वो ऐसा नहीं होता है कि वो सोच के आता है, like he didn't come prepared that he's going to ask all these questions. Okay, he's also like he's asking the random. So basically, he's also looking forward to some keywords that from where he can ask questions. So give him those keywords in the introduction, and he will ask from यही है. हाँ, तो ये पॉइंट ऐड करना था. पूछो जो लास्ट में जो पूछ रहे थे, बात वापस से बोलो.
And bhaiya, advices for our juniors, like what they have to do.
या इट्स लाइक चिल रहो. ठीक है, लाइक डोंट हैव टू पैनिक कि प्लेसमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, प्लेसमेंट नहीं हो रहा है. स्पेसिफिकली जो लोग कोर के लिए बैठ रहे हैं, आई हैव बीन देयर. सो बेसिकली सबका लग जाता है. आई मीन सीएस वालों का तो सबसे पहले हो जाता है. जो लोग आईटी में जा रहे हैं, अभी मतलब कंसल्टिंग में जाएंगे, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल जस्ट टेकिंग नेम्स ऑफ कंपनीज लाइक पीडब्ल्यूसी एंड ऑल, तो उन लोग का भी लग जाता है. So the people who are left is that those dedicated like students who want to join for core, and companies नहीं आ रहे होते, नवंबर हो चुका हो. So that's a really difficult situation. So don't be afraid and don't panic in that situation. Be prepared, like prepare yourself very well, like those questions, how to introduce yourself, those basic HR questions. Get thorough with what you want to say in the interview. Like if you want to talk about your projects, be very well prepared about your project. That should you shouldn't be like you shouldn't fail at that. Like if they ask you, tell me something about this project, they should remember that okay, yes, like you have done this project. That is how your practice should be, and you will crack it. Don't worry. If you practice well, you will crack it. And if you prepare yourself well in a systematic way, you will get it. So no need to panic. And one thing I would like to share कि मतलब BPCL में जो इंटरव्यू हुआ था ना मेरा, actually I almost went unprepared. So it's basically about your mindset and what is in your mind. Okay, you need to be calm, you need to be chill. Okay, and just give the interviews, and things will go as per like, how it is supposed to go. So just chill and
Okay.
give the interviews. Hey,
Nice.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you,
okay,
Bhaiya,
okay.
for
Thank.
taking out of your busy schedule and engaging with our viewers through the interactive session. Thank you to the viewers as
My
well as for
pleasure.
watching this video. Please like and share, and same of course subscribe to Chess NIT Durgapur if you haven't already. Do not forget to press the bell icon. See you again. Till then, Team Chess signing off.
Signing off.